afternoon. It's Cindy and Bob.
Hi. We're heading west, and we made this stop off in this park that we thought was just going to be somewhere to lay over and kill some time and get some work done and just basically be a relaxing week. So we booked this park called Niobrara State Park in Nebraska. And it's amazing what you just look around the areas, and it's amazing what you can find it.
Yeah.
And we thought it was going to be,
Nothing to do.
kickback week, and we found so much things to do and learned a little history of the area.
Yep. And we just got back from the pool. Yep, that's all right. The state park has a pool.
This is quite a nice state park, and the views in it and everything are pretty sharp, so you'll see it in the video.
Yep. So come and join us.
Enjoy the video.
Just an itty bitty ditty about a couple on the road, driving an RV, pulling a toad. No place special to roam, not looking for a home. Won't you come along with us? We are RPlaceTravels.
You see some of these pictures of the roads as we're driving into Nebraska. We're about 2 hours west of Iowa, but it's all we heard about Nebraska. Everybody we talked to, Nebraska's flat, there's nothing there, it's just flat.
They're wrong.
This does not look flat to me. And you talk to the locals, and the locals say that, yeah, you stay on the interstate, it's flat, but if you get off the interstate and drive around Nebraska, it is not flat.
Yeah, actually, you can see it's like what they call rolling hills. It was beautiful. I was really surprised the whole time. I kept on saying, "This is not what I expected."
Yeah, very beautiful country.
Yeah.
We're now in Niobrara State Park. We're in Nebraska.
We are in Nebraska. We've been moving on a Tuesday. We've been staying a week at every place we've been going, and everything's dead. It's kind of nice, but it's kind of weird. But the weekends, everything fills up, and then everybody goes away. So that's why it looks a little empty, is because today is a Wednesday.
And we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around here.
There is
Even
nothing.
The couple of little towns that we passed through are just little tiny towns. So it's just one big loop. It's just electric. They have shared water. So it's got two buildings, two buildings with bathrooms.
Bathroom facilities, you're right. And they do have a laundry here. They got one washer and dryer, which this is the first time that Go ahead. This is the first time that we've seen that. Where at a state park they've actually had a washer and dryer. Yeah.
Yeah, usually you only get them at the private campsite. First one we've come to where you have to actually pay to take a shower.
Two different ones.
Oh.
And then they have playground equipment and volleyball net. That's kind of nice. And it seems like a lot of people here have four-wheelers. That's what they're here for.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it's the attraction.
How cute is that?
Oh. A little teardrop.
Little teardrop.
Inside the park, we found this little bitty loop all by itself. There's 4 sites on it. 101, 102, 103, 104. You can see by this map, that's the RV park down there in the bottom right corner with all the little red campsites in it. But you can see how much bigger this whole park is, and you can see all the roads winding out through it. And it's got all the cabins in there and the campsites in there. And it's just huge. This is Niobrara State Park. It's got cabins to rent. It's got a lodge. It's got primitive tent sites. It's got a pool. It's got a horseback riding. And it's got the RV park. We're actually in the RV park, which is right off the highway, so we didn't realize how big this park was until we actually got in the car and started doing some exploring. These roads wind around through this whole park. This is another view of the park. You can see the roads just winding in and out through the park, up and down the hills. You can see the cabins off in the distance, see the river off in the distance, see the bridge off in the distance. You could just see for miles and miles. We're up on the hill, one of the highest points in the park. You could see for miles in all directions. And the views are just spectacular. This is one of the cabins in the park. There are actually 20 cabins in this park. This one's called Standing Hawk. Standing Hawk was an Omaha chief. Lived around the middle of the 19th century. This is actually inside one of the cabins. Walking in the back door. Down the hallway. Bathroom. Bedroom. Bedroom. Living room. That's the front door. And another bedroom here, so it's got 3 bedrooms. With a ton of bunk beds. Now I'm standing at the front door. And they walk out the back door. And they have a screened-in porch with the gorgeous view. This is the view from the back of one of the cabins. And this is just spectacular. This is the Niobrara River, which starts in Wyoming and then flows into the Missouri, just a couple miles north of here.
We went into the town of, go ahead and say it correctly.
Niobrara.
Niobrara.
Which means flowing water.
Needed to use the post office. I needed some things copied. They were great people. We tried to go to the library to get the copies, but it was closed until 1 o'clock.
It's a tiny little town.
Yeah.
Throw a rock from one end to the other.
As you can see, there's the saloon. I love the wood and how they have it all set up.
Yeah, the architecture of the saloon looked pretty cool, so we took a picture of that. That's right there downtown.
And while we were there, there was like a little mall that we went through.
They called it a mall. It
Yeah.
wasn't much bigger than a normal strip mall.
Like a strip mall. But everything was on the inside.
Yeah.
You could walk on the inside to it. So that's why they called it a mall.
Well, what I thought was fascinating about the mall is they had this piano sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And feel free to play your favorite melody. So it was an antique piano. Usually you hear keep your hands off. But this was feel free to play it, so I thought it was kind of cool.
Yep. A lot of places don't do things like
Yep.
that. But yeah, it's a nice little town.
About 1750, the Ponca Indians established villages in this area, so that's what it's pretty well known for. And they have some, I don't want to say museums, but
That's their like visitor center where we went to.
the place was closed.
It just says it's closed right now. So I think they're getting ready for what they call their powwows, and they're all getting ready for that. And while we were there, when we drove by, they were actually redoing the roof on some of their buildings and stuff. So I think that was why they were closed, is they're all getting ready for this.
A lot of renovating at the...
Yeah.
the-
While we were driving through the Ponca Indian territory, we just kind of happened by a monument. We went and looked
She
at it.
happened to see it off the side of the road,
Yeah.
so
We-
we pulled in and checked it out.
Uh-huh. And the only thing, it just had a date and people's names on it. The interesting thing is the women that are on it, it looks like they actually use the husband's name as their first name. And if they were either widowed or didn't have a husband, then it's got their first name on it, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Got an inscription on it. Others who died at Ponca in the years 1846 and 47.
So we kind of looked it up, and it looks like it was part of the Mormons' trail that they had taken with.
Apparently they went up the Missouri River on their way to Utah.
And they stayed right by the Ponca Indians there. And it looks like there were some that died. They actually came back and erected this monument to them.
Yeah, in actually 1900 and something, one of the relatives
Right.
came back and
Came back.
erected the monument.
We are in the town of
Verdigre,
and
Nebraska.
we just kind of stopped here. Some friends that we met at the campsite, they said the Amish were here and that, and they were selling things. So we found they had one person that was here selling things. So we bought some stuff and that. But while we were here, guess what we found?
What did we find?
A payphone.
Oh, phone booth.
Phone booth, right. That was kind of interesting in that. Very small town.
Yeah.
But little cute, gave us something to do today. So.
Yeah, I think it's at like a population of 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just right outside the campsite, about 10 minutes away from the campsite.
So thanks for joining us. We had a great time here in Nebraska. Actually, I think we're going to be staying in Nebraska still for just a little while.
Yeah, we're actually going to head about 45 minutes north of here, right on the Missouri River.
Bye.
Bye.